Hi everyone, welcome to Inside Property. This is Mark Chong from PNG. Today I'm going to share with you two strategies for Singapore property investment 2020. Now, a slew of measures by our government had changed the property scene over the past 15 years since the Asia financial crisis in 2003. The objective here is to maintain a stable growth. When the price goes up, they tighten the measures. When the price comes down, they'll loosen the measures. What do you think would our price be if not for the cooling measures? So let's dive in. These are some of the charts of our HDB overall performance for the past few years since the year 2013. 3-room prices dropped by 16.8%. 4-bedroom overall performance price dropped by 10.5%. HDB 5-room prices dropped by 6.8%. Now, why is our HDB prices going down when everything else is still going up? The reason is the majority of our flats are aging, and the value starts to drop because there is a lag in the demand, mainly due to the low entry price for our BTO and also the implementation of MSR, which is our mortgage servicing ratio for the public housing. Now we start to see a demand shifting over to matured estate and non-matured estate BTO instead of the HDB resale. Because if you can buy a BTO at 300 to 400,000, why would you want to pay a 600,000 to 800,000 HDB resale? So let's look at the transacted price for 4-room over in Ang Mo Kio back in 2012 and 2014. The price range 412,000 to 620,000. And now 4-room transacted in year 2017 to 2020, price range 370 to 480,000. There is a significant price drop from 570,000 down to 448,000. In the same block, at the same level, $122,000 drop, 21.4% in 6 years. Let's look at another area. Transacted price for 5-room in Punggol 2013, price range 490,000 to 625,000. Transacted price of 5-room in Punggol 2017 to 2020, price range 415,000 to 498,000. A price drop of 625 to 445 in the same block at the same level, $180,000 drop, 28.8% in 6 years. So is it no longer a long-term asset that we can depend on? That you already know if you have read the news about negative sales due to CPF accrued interest. So everyone starts to mind shift because we all know by now that we need some form of investment to back up our retirement plan, and that we really can't depend on our savings alone. So here is an example of how much CPF being used can affect your break-even price. The example here bought the house at 412,000 in year 2009, and today they need to sell anything above 554,000 in order to have a break-even, and anything more than that, then only they will be able to see some of the cash proceeds. Now, it is not true that you cannot profit from public housing or subsidized housing. It's just that you need to know when you can take advantage of it. There's such a thing called peak price trend. And regretfully, most of us do not know. Look at this scenario. Punggol, sell in 2012, 650,000. Sell now, 450,000. Same age, same block, same height. The pain of losing 200,000 is speechless. And if one had taken advantage of the peak price trend and sold it in 2012-2013 and reinvested into another private property, in this case here I will use River Sound, which is also located over in Punggol. Instead of losing 200k, he would have made 200k from the sale of his HDB in 2012-2013 and made another 250,000 in 2018-2019 when he sells his private property. Like I said, it is not true that you cannot generate profit. You just need to know when to take advantage of it. Now, for matured BTO, they normally peak around the MOP, which is from the 5th year to the 7th year onwards. And for the non-matured BTO, they will peak around the 7th year to the 10th year. And for the private new launch, they will peak near to TOP, which is the temporary occupation period, starting from the 5th year onwards. I'll come to that later. The timeline difference, reason being the infrastructure, the community, and the population takes time to build. So is it the right time for HDB owners to upgrade? Well, you have to create your own ability. Or if you are able to sell during the peak price trend, you'll be able to generate cash from the cash proceeds and also the savings that you have been putting aside for the past 5 to 7 years. And you have converted your assets into gains when you sell your property, plus together with your CPF bulk-out account because you have received the grant from the government through CPF. And you would have also created a profile over the years as you climb the corporate ladder, as you declare your taxes diligently, and now you are able to pick up a loan from the bank. And you are very well on your way to owning and moving into your next private property. So strategy 1 is to sell when your property is on a peak price trend or with the profit, and jumping straight into strategy number 2, that is to buy a private new launch in 2020 that is within your ability. Some may ask, why private, not BTO? Why new launch, not resale? Should I go for EC or should I go for private? Let's look at some of the figures. Looking at the history again, since 2001 to date, our new high is always higher than the previous high. In SARS 2003, it went up by 115%. It dipped at 34% during the global financial crisis, went up again for another 88%, came down because of the cooling measures by 17%, and then continued its trend up for another 35% to very date. Private property growth consistently performs at a double-digit increase, with every drop only at a single digit. EC market movement since 2013 until now has appreciated almost 50% in the last 6 years. Due to the cooling measures, almost all the speculators are eradicated from the market, from seller stamp duty to additional buyer stamp duty to TDSR, total debt servicing ratio, to loan to value LTV. This has prevented anyone from over-leveraging and to flip properties like nobody business. This totally changed the profile of our buyers and the owners in the private property sector. Now, all these new owners, they are genuine owners, they are astute investors, they are also wealth builders, and they have no urgency to sell, and they have the ability to hold the assets for the longer term, thus explaining our strong take-up rate over the past few years. Given the good records of strong governance and performance over the past 30 years, Singapore still remains as one of the top spots for wealth accumulation and wealth preservation. And in the event of a weak economy, the low interest rates will be a tool for them to take advantage of, as they pay down more to the principal amount and enjoy huge savings on the interest. Look at this calculation example. Buying a new launch under progressive payment based on the old rate of 2.2% against the new rate of 1.3%. Look at how much principal amount is being paid now. Another extract from our savings plan calculator, with all things equal, 2.2% for the old rate and the new rate at 1.3%. Not only more principal is being paid down in the last 5 years, the interest savings amounts to $80,000 in difference. Can you imagine what it will do for you? So if you have observed, the private housing is similar to the public housing. They too will face a price stabilizing and also a stagnant of the price for a while. The difference here is that the private sector have several peaks as they age compared to the subsidized housing. The steepest peak usually happens at TOP, which is at the 5th year mark, and thereafter they will be subjected to market condition. Centuries, District 22, 480,000 per square foot in 2006, went up to 1,280 per square foot in 2013. Côte d'Azur, from $640 in 2002 to $1,440 in 2011. Notice the several peaks and a stagnant curve. The Shore Residence, from $1,100 per square foot in year 2009, went up to $1,650 per square foot in year 2013-2014. So will you cash out or will you continue to hold? So strategy 1 still apply. Sell when in a peak trend. In this case here, that will be the TOP. To maximize the profit and the timeline. And please don't be greedy. Now, why is the trend so? An important point to note here is that whether it's public housing or private housing, they all have their own initial peak. Very much due to one single factor, is that all the prices are controlled and are being staged up by the sellers. In this case here would be HDB for BTO, developers for new launch. And every unit selling price is priced in a controlled manner so that everyone buys within a price range at the point of sales. The main difference here is the timeline is shorter, the return is higher, and it's definite asset class. Do you know that a private property, when it's almost fully paid or is fully paid, you are able to pick up a loan from the bank without having to sell it in the event that you need emergency funds, whether it's for your kids going to study overseas or your entrepreneurial journey, whereas you can't do that even though your HDB is fully paid. Let's look at some of the first-timer profit and advantage. Commonwealth Tower, average 280,000. Look at North Park Residences, launched just after the cooling measures in 2015. Average profit 350,000. You see, developers have minimum average selling price that they need to fulfill for every launch because the banks back them up and it's within the contractual agreement, and they also need to achieve the 30% in the total sales before the loans can be dispersed for them to commence their construction. So over the years, the developers have come up with numerous ways to fulfill this and yet still have the pricing attractive enough for all of us to come in. So they use strategy ranging from dollar averaging, from phase launch increments, from demand band increments, from stamp duty absorption, even special discounts, all ultimately fulfilling the minimum average selling price. Now that's why you hear many agents telling you to take the first mover advantage. That's because it is the truth. He or she is just basically trying to help you to save some money at the end of the day, because the launch price is always priced lower to attract the buyers to come in. And by entering early, you will have choices over the units that you want without having to pay so high for it. Let's check out one of our latest news, M by Weng Tai. They bought the land in March 2019. ABSD will only be due in 2024. The land cost 1458 per square foot. Break-even cost 2198 per square foot. With a mere profit of 10%, their expected launch price will be $2,417 per square foot. Look at how much M was being launched. In February 2020, it was launched around $2,100 per square foot. That is actually their break-even price. And eventually, M adjusted their price. It went up to $2,400 plus per square foot. That is with a mere 10% profit. This is a very good example of the dollar averaging to maintain the minimum average selling price. Having choice units will definitely reap you better returns eventually when you sell or you exit for your profits. Now, the longer you wait, the lesser units are available for you to choose, and eventually you'll be almost left with nothing to choose from. And very likely will be even paying higher price than the initial launch price because of all those things that I mentioned earlier on. So let's look at another first mover advantage over in Martin Modern. Bought in July 2017, around $2,000 per square foot. And in September 2018, another unit in the same stack was sold at $2,700 over per square foot. Well, you may say that the developers are reaping from the market sentiment. Sure, why wouldn't they? Even if it's not a $700 per square foot, a $350 per square foot is still very, very significant, because that means that you don't have to sell as high as a person who actually bought higher and bought later than you to enjoy the same amount of profits. This is a very good example of phase launch increment and also the demand band increment. Some may say market sentiments are not good. I'll wait for the discounts and some of the perks that the developers might throw in. Sure, you can, but how long? Developers have 5 years to sell out the whole entire project, and that's 5 years of your loan tenure gone. Remember the equation I shared some time ago. The longer the loan, the lesser you pay every month. The lesser you pay every month, the more cash flow you will have. Take a look at this mortgage calculator for two different loans, one on a 20 years loan and the other one on a 25 years loan. Look at the differences. As for private resale, they may seem cheaper than the new launches, but you have no control over the average selling price. Your buying price will definitely be higher than the previous owners. They don't have to sell as high as you, and there is no assured way for you to stage the prices, even though the market is in your favor. Let's look at what happened over in Yishun. In 2015, North Park Residences was launched at around $1,300 per square foot. Together within the area, we have 9 residences: Sky Metonia, Estuary, Yishun Emerald and Yishun Sapphire. And eventually in 2020 April, the price of North Park residences went up to $1,500 per square foot, but the rest of the projects, they remain stagnant. North Park was launched significantly higher than the rest, but check out who has the last laugh. Average profit $350,000. Another example, Queens versus Commonwealth Tower. In 2014, Commonwealth Tower was launched around $1,500 per square foot, with Queens selling at $1,300 per square foot. Up to date, Commonwealth Tower now is doing around $1,800 per square foot, whereas Queens is still selling around $1,300 per square foot. On the average, for Commonwealth Tower first mover, average profited $280,000. Now that is the reason why you should be choosing private new launch that's within your ability in 2020. Let us look at more examples. Bartley Ridge, bought in 2013-2014, sold in 2018-2019, average $280,000. Cocoa Palms, Pasir Ris, launched in 2014, sold in 2018-2019, average $280,000. Panorama, launched in 2014, bought in 2014-2015, sold 2018-2019, average $320,000. Now to sum it up for today, you have to at least take advantage of either one of them to start. And for upgraders, some of you may be the lucky ones that you are sitting on an asset that has already profited or already appreciated for the past few years. Or you are sitting on a property that's going to MOP or TOP. If you're not, that doesn't mean you can't take advantage of the second strategy. And recap, strategy 1, sell when your property is on a peak price trend or when there is a profit. Strategy 2 is to buy a new launch in 2020 that is within your ability to build and to rebuild your wealth. Take advantage of the interest rate and the low sentiments. You'll notice that all the examples that I've showed you were all in 2014-2015. That was when the cooling measures was just implemented, where the sentiments are very low. There's also many talks about a gloomy economy. These are the people who actually profited eventually. Now our market is always changing and very, very dynamic here in Singapore because we are very heavily influenced by our government policies. So we really need to get to know the rules to play the game well. And when opportunity arises, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. You decide. I'm showing you some of the pricing charts to guide you moving forward. This is the expected average price per square foot for new projects in 2019 and 2020. You will notice that there is 3 time band. Price comparison for unlaunched projects over in the CCR. You will notice that there is also a mixture of freehold and 99-year. They range from 1,009 to 2,400. Price comparison for unlaunched projects in RCR from 1,500 to 3,200. Price comparison for unlaunched projects in OCR from 1,400 to 2,100. Now do not be daunted by the price per square foot, because with all these charts, you are able to compare and see whether you are buying a new price tag or are buying an old price tag. What do I mean by that? Now if you are buying a launch that is in 2019 or 2020, and then you are actually paying a price band that's in 2015 or 2016, it means you are actually buying a new item on an old price tag. Now because of TDRSR and LTV, which is the loan to value, the quantum price now, which is the selling price, it is more crucial now than ever compared to the price per square foot. Then why do you think there are so many 1.2 million to $2 million house out there for sale? The simple reason is that because that's the average income ratio that we can all afford. Now in the older days, the per square foot was the only way for us to judge whether are we overpaying a particular property. Because back then, there was no limit to how many loans that we can pick up, and there is also no additional taxes for owning multiple properties. Those were the good old days for the speculators, and now they are all gone. This brings an end to my sharing today, and I sincerely hope that all of you will be able to have some form of takeaway after watching today's video. Now, if you need help on the calculations or to work out a feasible and sensible strategy that works for you, you can reach me on any of the social platforms that will be displayed at the end of the video. This is Inside Property by Mark Chong. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay strong.